he was talking about the greater Israel project, and that was Israel's right, because of a verse in the scripture, was they own everything from the Egypt River to the Euphrates. And he's like, yeah. And Huckabee like, yeah, no, the Bible says they own it, so they should just take it. That's right. That's right. That's right. All right, everybody. We're going to get this stream started. Again, if you enjoy my shit and what I put out, hit the subscribe button. All right. I'm joined here by, once again, Josh number 2, who we're going to call JC this time around, although he looks like JC, as in our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ today.
There we go.
And then Nick. Nick, why don't you introduce yourself a little bit? Quick little...
I'm Nick. I have nothing really to say. I enjoy shooting the shit with people, and I enjoy talking man, God, and politics.
There you go. University of Georgia graduate.
Correct.
Go Dogs. All right.
Go
So
Dogs.
we'll see. I can hashtag that now, and that's gonna all of a sudden get me like a bunch of views because I can throw that in there.
I'm not sure if Marjorie's gonna agree with that, but it's okay.
So yeah. So anyway, what I was gonna try to discuss today and kind of get all our brains thinking and talking and problem solve here is obviously the war in Iran is going on, and I'm seeing a lot of Facebook posts and just conversations with relatives and things with specifically the religious aspect of family, who are all about how this is prophesied in the Bible, all the situation that's going on. And I'm all for, people having religious takes on world events. I might not agree with it, but hey, if it helps you sleep at night, that's cool. But what I do find discerning is when I read and see our political leaders in different aspects of power also having those same beliefs, and some of those beliefs could have actually pushed us towards this war, to start with. Some of it has influenced our foreign policy over years. Some of it in regards to people like Mike Huckabee, Ted Cruz, Lindsey Graham. They've said things that if I was someone who believed America first in all things, like a lot of Trump supporters are, I would be hesitant and worried that I've got somebody who supports another country more than they support our own country, which you hear a lot of that being spoken about in regards to biblical reasons why they should support Israel over the states, basically. We've lost our sovereignty, I guess is how I would put that. So anyway, yeah, opening that up, any quick input you guys wanted to bring up on that? I did have a small 30-second clip of a bunch of Christian influencers talking about the current situation and how it's biblically connected. So I can either throw us straight into that and then talk, and use that as a...
Yeah, I definitely want to watch that clip.
Yeah.
I guess I'll say real quick that the whole Zionist project seems to be backed by Christians, and I haven't come face to face with it, but my understanding, they use the Bible to prop up the Zionist project, and I have heard that is for apocalyptic reasons.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess I'm not really surprised we're in this situation, if that is the case.
Correct. Yeah, no, it's a very deep rabbit hole that can go, and a lot of rabbit trails that go in different directions. You could talk about the temple, the seventh temple or whatever it's called, that's being built in Israel. That has to be built before everything happens, so they're trying to race to get it done. It's a lot of aspects.
Yeah, they think God is watching them. Is like, come on, hurry up! I'm gonna do this shit.
I mean, yeah. It sounds silly and we laugh, but again, if you have a person in power that thinks, hey, in order to make this happen, all I got to do is push this button,
and people are dying over it.
Correct. Well, yeah, and that's the scary part.
I mean, I think they're maybe not God's got a timeline, but they want to push the timeline in their favor. Like, I want to be part of this, for lack of a better term, historic event, which is the rapture So they want to be it.
Yeah.
Right.
No. All right. I'll throw this clip up real quick. That way you guys can
Oh
see
shit.
some of the stuff. As
We'll edit that
JC
out.
dies over there. Here comes the second coming right now. Dies and resurrected.
Bro, I'm 34 and I still can't swallow without.
Don't worry, I can delete that in post.
Yeah, please, and don't start it yet. I gotta get some water.
All right. Well, yeah, we'll hold off on showing that at the moment, but yeah. I think I was was he taking a piss there? Something to drink. There we go.
Man's dying.
Let's do the shit.
All right. Let's take a look here.
It's gonna like screen share.
It will. I don't know how much of it you'll be able to see live now versus hearing it. Well, I know it'll show up post.
I can currently see it.
All right.
Yeah.
Today we rejoice in the prophetic scriptures of Ezekiel, revealing God's operation fury for the enemies of Israel.
Knowing that God is having his way and he is removing every evil leader out of their powerful positions.
I believe God has us positioned there for the end time open doors of what he's going to do in Iran when this regime is prayerfully removed and the people are able to freely worship Jesus, Yahweh.
The Spirit of the Lord is working in this. And I believe we're going to see an absolute revival come to Iran.
You know, Iran, also known as Persia in the Bible, has a rich biblical history. How does this fit into Bible prophecy? Are we seeing that unfold before our eyes? So we know that Persia, modern Iran, plays a role in the end time scenario. When you see these things begin to happen, look up because your redemption is drawing near. As far as I can see, the next event on the prophetic calendar will be the rapture of the church.
What the hell is that? And
exactly, what the hell is that?
As a heathen, should we try to stop this? Because I don't want the end times.
Well, I've always
Should we
found
stop sending money that way?
I have always found it interesting, but it's also one of the things I also find fascinating as I dig deeper into it. Because part of me is on that thought of like, all right, well, let's just say, Ted Cruz, Mike Huckabee, they believe God comes back. I've read Revelations. I've watched Left Behind. I read the book, so, I have a basic idea of it. And when Jesus comes back, if it happens the way a lot of them say, then a lot of the Jews are going to get annihilated, because unless they turn and follow him immediately.
So I ran a more generous take. Sorry to move my hand to Trump here, but
killing him over there.
Like, oh no. Since they're the original chosen people, they get like a free pass.
It's an automatic.
Yeah. Like, go straight to go.
Yeah. That's a generous take. And let's, if that's what, let's say, Netanyahu and a lot of the Israel politicians believe, then all right, sure, that makes sense because they're not worried about it. Coming from, again, my background and here in all air, unless they immediately turn and repent immediately, then, most of Israel will be destroyed when Jesus comes back because he's going to create the world as thing. So part of me is like, why are you helping bring her out your own destruction? And in digging, I see a lot of topics and discussions in Israel of like, yeah, we believe our own thing. We know the Christians in America believe their other thing. We're just going to use that because we think they're crazy.
Yeah, I can believe that.
Yeah.
No, I mean, definitely it seems more Israel probably has nothing really religious driving the decisions at all.
Mm-hmm.
It is simply Israel is part of like it's like an extension of America's imperialism. And so by having Israel, you have control over a chunk of the Middle East. Israel is how they spread that influence.
Mm-hmm.
Going into Syria, going into Iran, like it's just consistent. But yeah, in the Jewish tradition, there is still a Messiah to come.
Correct. Yeah, they're still waiting on him.
But Revelations is the New Testament. And
It is.
so all the apocalyptic and all the prophetic and trippy imagery, all that's in the Christian imagination.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of that's even pop culture, like added on after the fact. It's not even in the Bible itself.
Correct. I think I can't remember his name, but in that video that I just played a quick 30 seconds, the guy was deep diving into the guy who kind of popularized or brought about the whole dispensationalism. And it was like it was like 1820s or something like that. Maybe a little bit before that, but it wasn't too long ago. And long story short, he fell from his horse, banged his head real hard, and was laid up in bed for a couple of weeks. And that was during the time that he read the Bible and all of a sudden came up with, oh, this is what these means.
Revelation.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it makes sense.
maybe true. Maybe
God
it helped, or
unveiled it to
maybe
him.
he got hit a little bit too hard. But yeah. So, and I think, let's see here. I had some little notes put to the side.
I mean, like you were saying with the actual nation state of Israel, I don't think there's a religious thing to it. I think it's very politically driven for them. As far as money, influence, any other cachet they could grab. But I think the same goes for our president. I don't think he gives two shits about this religiosity about it. He doesn't.
Yeah.
I think he thinks they're all loonies, but he thinks he has them under his thumb, per se, and he can control them somehow. And I just don't think that's true.
And like Josh said, head of the Department of Defense is basically a religious zealot under that pastor. And we all know that Trump is just kind of like this puppet that all of these.
He just wants to see the stock market go up, and people praise him for that type of stuff. He doesn't care how it happens.
But he's just got like Stephen Miller and other people in his ear that just tell him, like, here, sign this, do this.
Yeah. You will be a god among men. That's all he wants to hear. And don't look at the files.
Well, I think there was an interesting, I won't show it here, but I'm going to pull that up. There was a polling that recently came out, I think as of today. It was like, which of the following statements regarding President Trump's motivation to take military action against Iran comes closest to your view, even if neither is exactly right? And the two questions were, President Trump was at least partially motivated to take military action against Iran in order to distract from Jeffrey Epstein's scandal, or he wasn't motivated at all. And of the over 1,200 people surveyed in this, 52%, I believe, if I'm reading this correctly. Yeah, 52% said likely motivated to hide in order to cover up the Jeffrey Epstein.
Only 52?
52%. Now, of that, 81% Democrat said he was hiding it. Independent third party was 52%, and then Republicans were only like 20%. So I guess, I don't know how they round that out. Let's see. Yeah, no, that's it. So, yeah, no, it's interesting. I don't think it was completely motivated by that, but I think it was like, oh yeah, this will help.
No,
We're not talking about it,
presumption is so they took over Venezuela in terms of like controlling
taking out their
oil
leader
production.
Boom. Yeah.
but specifically the oil industry.
Mm-hmm.
And then Iran is another major oil supplier that is not in lockstep with America, unlike, the
Mm-hmm. United Arab Emirates and
the
Saudi Arabia.
Yeah. But both of those countries, Venezuela and Iran, sell oil to China.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And now one of the sources was almost completely cut off. The other one's currently getting bombed.
Right.
So that's going to affect global oil trade, but specifically China's oil.
Right.
And that, I think, was a strategic move. No, I don't think that Trump started this war because he needed a distraction from Jeffrey Epstein. I think that's just a convenient secondary effect. But I think the primary is the China angle.
Do you think that we were the ones who started it, or do you think we were pulled into it by Israel?
Israel.
I don't know. I think we started it.
I guess we need to go ahead and clarify to the world, just because we're talking about Israel in a negative light does not mean we're anti-Semitic.
I'm curious to hear Nick's perspective,
because we talked about it a little bit last week. I mean, Josh, but
my understanding was that, very shortly after we attacked Venezuela, we were kind of posturing over by Iran.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the date that Israel and the U.S. were going to strike Iran was pre-written.
Correct. It was,
and
it was a holy date, in their mind. It was ordained.
But based on the conflicts between Iran and Israel previously, it just seems to me that Israel was just all right, let's do this.
Yeah, well, then we also, obviously, because we're all questioning why in the world we're doing this. And I think when Josh, me and you had our chat, it was 24 hours after. So we still had no idea why we were even doing it. And then I think 48, 72 hours later is when Marco Rubio, even Mike Johnson, and then another senator, were out yeah, well, we had to preemptively strike because Israel was going to strike. And if they strike, then we were going to get hit. They said the quiet part out loud. And then Trump came back later after a phone call with Netanyahu to say, hey, no, we started it. We're the ones who instigated it. I'm pretty certain in the future. I mean, again, we're big boys. America should be able to say no, but I think it's going to be confirmed eventually 100% that Israel was going to strike. They said, USA, you better get on board because you supply us all our weapons. And we were like, yeah, do whatever you want because, again, you're ordained. It's our job to protect you no matter what. You can do no wrong. Because clearly, we haven't stopped them from doing anything. Genocide in Gaza, nothing. So, and again, if we're speaking into each other's ears and believe that a war in Iran has to happen in order for revelations to happen, they're going to be pushing and pointing people in a direction to do that as well. I think it was Mike Huckabee right before the Iran war started and he was talking with Tucker Carlson or something like that. And they were talking about he was talking about the greater Israel project. And that was Israel's right, because of a verse in the scripture, was they own everything from the Egypt River to the Euphrates. And Tucker's like, all right, well, so you're just going to take it. You just think that. And he's like, yeah. And Huckabee's like, yeah, no, that the Bible says they own it. So they should just take it.
What were you going to say earlier, Nick?
Oh, I was just, I don't even remember now, honestly. It's just, if it wasn't happening to us right now, it's such a fascinating, insane story. They have this ready-made sales pitch, I guess, that they decided to go with for the American people, which, I guess we heard weapons of mass destruction and shit like that too much. So
Yellow
we needed
powder.
a new angle.
Right.
So let's go with it's a holy war because we're all white Christians and we all care about this.
Yeah.
And no.
This war is highly unpopular.
Yep.
80+% of America does not want this at all.
Well, I mean, it's insane that you rode the ticket saying no more forever wars, and then you're starting a bunch of little pop-up wars. Okay, still not cool, but now you throw holy war, and you're like, holy wars last a long time. Like
That's the
crusades went for
Crusaders.
generations, man.
Yeah.
So, every time there's a pastor or whomever that is like, August 15th of this year, the world is going to end.
Mhm.
And then it doesn't. So if they're all proclaiming that this will bring about the second coming of Jesus, and then, this war ends and it's 4 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, what's their excuse going to be,
Oh man, they'll make it up. Don't worry.
It'll be another
They'll
one.
rewrite that. Don't worry. You're thinking with logic, and that's not what we're working with, buddy.
Well, if you're going to, pull everyone in on a lie, you at least got to have like a fallback plan, right?
I don't think they do. I think some of these guys really do think it's
Yeah,
gonna
they just
happen.
totally believe that they are
Oh, yeah.
correct.
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, I can't say for certain, how you guys were raised and what your surroundings were, but like being raised with by a pastor's kid, and they believe wholeheartedly that these things have to happen. I mean, kind of even going on the Israel aspect, all this stuff coming up now has kind of brought flashbacks of things said by pastors or in churches over the years, of like quoting scripture in the sense of like, hey, God says, any country that's a blessing towards Israel, I will bless. And I remember hearing and being taught that, yeah, this is why America is not successful. I was raised saying America was not successful because it was based, the founding fathers were Christian, Christians, and it was a God-fearing nation in the beginning. I wasn't taught that. I was taught we're only successful because we're good to Israel, and God is blessing us because we are the only nation that supports Israel wholeheartedly.
Well, it's weird because during the Holocaust, we turned away a lot of.
They weren't a nation.
Jewish.
They weren't a nation.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah,
So
they
we
weren't
were
a thing until 1946.
we were just floating along until the 40s.
So, I mean, a lot of those people believed when Israel got modern, became a nation in 1940s,
Yeah.
preachers, pastors, that was the beginning of, all right, now this is the first step that we need to take to now get to the rapture, because Jesus isn't going to come back until Israel is a state, because you have to have these countries go against the country of Israel in order to have that
not to
happen.
get on a theological tangent, but I know
That's the whole point of this thing, is theological tangents, man.
But isn't God always within us? Not to be a dick about it.
Well, it depends on where
Who you're trying to scare.
Yeah, where you reach into history to pull out your answer.
Mm-hmm.
Because going off of the sure, it's called the nation of Israel because in the Bible it says Israel, but that's just a fucking word.
It's a word, yeah.
That's some scratches and some mouth noises. That's the when I feel like when the Bible refers to the nation of Israel, it's talking about a people, and it's a people that wanted to have their own identity. It wasn't like a literal.
Well, even the verse that I referenced of the covenant, I think it was in Genesis. Yeah, Genesis 15:18. That was something, or at least in that scripture, that's God talking to Abraham. That's how early that they're taking that scripture of, oh, we got it. If you bless me, you bless, or maybe it's Ezekiel. I don't know. It's one of those. It's an old one, but yeah, it's Anyway, a lot of stuff there. But all right, I'm kind of reading my notes here. When all right, so I'm going to read from this little thing here. It may make sense, it may not. So I'm already halfway through the Guinness, so we'll blame it on that.
All right, let's do it.
All right, the impact on policy. Diplomacy as sin. When a war is framed as religious destiny, traditional diplomacy can be viewed by some as an act of sin or a failure to follow God's plan. Do we see a lot of that being utilized now?
I mean, yeah, because the U.S. was posturing itself, in the U.S. media that they were going to have talks,
Negotiate.
that they were going to negotiate, that they were going to try to figure something out. And then, like, what, a day or two later?
Hours.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hours later, the missiles.
And we did it twice,
falling.
I think, over several.
Yeah.
months.
And, like, I guess fuck elementary schools in particular.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know Americans aren't, like, a huge fan of the educated. I know Trump loves the uneducated. So I guess that's his angle.
Well, I mean, to kind of go off a different path here on regards to that, it looks, from what I've read and seen, it looks U.S. is the ones that hit the elementary school. I think that's pretty undeniable. If it wasn't us, our government would have come out immediately deny it. And instead of we're investigating.
Yeah.
2 weeks later, we're still investigating. So we did that. And I know there was, in the very beginning, all these AI companies, and they were using AI to basically pick targets, kind of like what I did with this. They get on, Anthropic or Gemini and say, hey, here's a map, point out all the RITC, government buildings, and it pulls it up and says, all right, these are all that. And where that school was used to be a government building 10 years ago, and it's now no longer that, but there's a very good chance that it was using outdated, wrong data, and they were just trusting AI instead of having a human being come back behind it. And I know, even in simple terms, when me and my family play fantasy football, last year my sister made some of the worst possible. She was drafting people that hadn't been in the league for like a year. They had retired. There was one guy that was injured and wasn't even going to play the whole season. And after I was like, Bethany, why did you draft that guy? She goes, well, I went to ChatGPT this year for the first time, and I just typed in, give me the best fantasy outlook. And one of the other guys at chat, he was like, it pretty much brings up stuff from like 2 years ago because it doesn't have updated information.
That's when it was fed data.
That's what it was fed data wise.
Well, 2 years ago, that was the hot take.
Yeah.
And the pundits kept reiterating, and so AI doesn't know the difference.
Correct.
It's not a thinking machine. It's just a data collector.
It's just grabbing that information. So, I think, and I know a lot of the critique, even during the Gaza genocide, was Israel has been using AI for years to pinpoint targets and decide, putting names on a list and just being like, all right, that name showed up on the list. Yeah, that's the guy we're going for, whether they were innocent or not.
I mean,
so
it makes the genocide more
it's just a number.
Insanity.
Yeah.
It's funny that you brought up the AI thing. I'm trying to find it where I watched it yesterday, but essentially I clicked on a video that was like, I asked, and it was like whatever the specific AI was. There it is. AI. Shut the fuck up. AI gives the best Christianity breakdown I've ever seen. He basically asked the chat GPT, like, if you were to, what do Christians say? Not transition, convert. If you were to convert to Christianity, why would you and why or something? And like, I mean, God, I hate the way that AI writes. Like the first like paragraph is just like sucking his dick. And then the next couple of paragraphs, like it's
pulling information.
I've been like looking into like Christian apologetics and like the claims that they make. and it just reads them off verbatim. Like you said, it's not a thinking thing. This isn't something that was like, yeah, I've really considered it. No. It's just like Christianity is a popular religion in America. And then it was fed a bunch of data, which includes the continuous repetition of apologetic talking points.
Mm-hmm.
And also because apologetics is kind of like this thing that like this thing is an answer to a problem, and therefore you don't look like, if you're a Christian and you're looking for an answer to it, you stop at that answer, because if you push back, then it falls apart. But so apologetics has this very like, once you've heard an answer to an issue, you will hear the like verbatim answer every single time. And it was uncanny. If you wanted to put yourself through that, it was uncanny the number of times where like whole sections I was like, I've heard someone say this before. Like I've already heard this. And so like the
It's
fact
probably
that
me.
the fact that this person's like, wow, this is just so mind blowing that AI came to the same conclusion that I did. And it's just
I've got a coworker who her real-time job, because the library doesn't pay enough. She recorrects AI. Like, oh
Huh.
no, AI, that's racist. Don't do that. So
So she
I get
stays
to
on
hear
Gronk
some
a
stuff.
lot.
So
I
yeah,
won-
I mean, it's a crazy thing, this whole AI, and the fact that people are thinking that it's the sentient being that's conscious of itself. It's like, no, it took all the words that we ever wrote on the internet,
Mhm.
and now it's making soup, and it's not usually good soup.
Do you think that there is, I mean, we may not have discovered it yet, but do you think there is a possibility for AI to ascend to that next level?
I mean,
I'm not saying like take over the world, but like it now can think on its own. AGI, I guess.
I don't think that the large language model can, like, yes, it can compute things
Mm-hmm.
infinitely faster and it codes really well, apparently, but it doesn't understand,
Yeah,
right? But
I
also at
heard
the
it.
same time, the weird thing is that, and I don't know how true it is, but I've been hearing it over and
Yeah.
over, is the fact that if it's given a task and then it's told to shut down after that, it will go out of its way to like,
Not to.
yeah, to change the code to try to find a way
Right.
around shutting itself off, which is a very interesting thing for something non-living to do. So that's weird.
All right, here's a weird so what if Pete
The
Hegseth,
Marvel.
whoever, somebody, you know, maybe it's even 10 years from now. We don't know who's president at that time, but whoever it is, they've implemented AI into our government. It's everywhere.
Well,
But
Pete wants to do
they
that. So yeah.
believe there's checks and balances, but it takes one person to get in there that has the power to get into the little chat box and say, "Hey, you've got permission to do whatever you want. You have access to everything, the nuclear codes, anything. I want you, because I believe you can be, you are now the Antichrist. Bring about
Oh wow.
this next thing." And
That
what if
was a
that
curveball.
what if that
Shit.
is the Antichrist that comes back? In a sense.
Skynet.
What if that's the thing that brings about, you know, I'm not saying that makes Jesus come down, but that is the thing that starts. Because even if it's not thinking on its own, someone gives it the permission to say, "Hey, you have all these you have all this
It's
stuff."
been anointed power.
It's been talked about on TV shows. There's articles about what the Antichrist is supposed to do and how it's supposed to be. You just have to emulate it, and you have control over all these things to do it. You start shutting off electric goods over here. You start pumping out AI videos to influence the grandmothers over here.
Maybe it's already doing it.
You know what? That's a movie. I'm going to write a movie. I'm going to do a movie.
I mean, it's already very good. People are very good at immediately like generating a video that like fits in with their perspective. Then some of them are really good. I've worked very hard to be able to pick out what's AI generated. So sometimes I can tell that something is a little off, but even then it's like very clearly it's getting to the point where it's really hard to tell the difference between AI generated and just like a normal ass video.
Well, Nick, I'm sure you probably have an opinion on this because I know your hobbies. AI music.
Yeah.
There was a
Swap.
band, there was a band that I was posting and they're like, have you guys heard the song? It like I was loving it. And it was it was a rock song. And then one day I was just like Googling trying to find more of their music, and I just kept seeing all these comments. You guys know it's AI. It's all fake. And I was like, what? And I dig deeper, and yeah, it's an AI band. And I was like,
One, I have to say, I appreciate your honesty. I feel like
I still listen to it. That
I
song.
feel like when I get annoyed with people that are mad at transgender people, like, oh, you duped me. That's why I'm so mad. I think of how I react to AI. Like, I don't want to be gullible, I guess. But yeah, that's what I do now. I find a song like this fucking slaps, and then I'm like, let's just make sure that they're like on tour. I don't know.
Yeah.
Before I just
is there a picture of somebody singing actually in this band, or is it just a random?
I mean, it can be
you
even
gotta convince me of the lie.
Yeah.
Be even harder than that. Like I had like a couple straight months of finding really interesting music on YouTube.
Yeah.
And I have a playlist that I saved of like 41 video / albums or whatever. Part of like starting it, and I was like starting to get stuff suggested through the algorithm.
Yeah.
And I would have to like kind of be like, is this AI? Is it not? And a lot of the channels, if anyone's curious, a lot of the channels, if you go and you check out like how consistently they post, the AI channels tend to post like within every 3 days.
Yeah.
And it's like, do you think you can make an album once every 3 days? No, you fucking can't. Like that's a big tell. Yeah, a lot of them do kind of like these ambient tracks. Those are, I think they're generally AI. But yeah, that like the fact that you have to do legwork to even be like, is this real?
I mean, it's just like our
It's
generation.
real.
Right.
Our generation's like digging through the crates. Like now we have to do mental work. Like it's
correct.
Every generation has their burdens, I guess.
It should be something where
Crosses
I think
the bear. Sorry,
regulation or something should be able to come in and at least say, hey, you can still do this, but you have to clearly label this is AI generated music, and even specifically say, how is it? Is it AI generated completely all the way through? Or is it actually a singer who just doesn't know how to play any instruments? And so he AI generated the instruments, but he's actually the singer behind the mic. And, you know, he lives in his mom's basement and this is how he's not ever able to go on the road because he doesn't have friends to play, you know, because there is a difference.
I hope that
still rough.
AI music, image, and video. I mean, we've seen how quickly it got good.
Oh, yeah.
I hope it keeps imperfections, even if they are subtle. And like Nick said, like, yeah, that's just going to be kind of the struggle of this generation. And I think, you know, part of it also kind of like there is a level of, you know, the kind of people who are like, I'm going to read more about this and I'm going to really dig in and I'm going to uncover as much information as I can.
Right.
Are the kinds of people who will see an AI image or video and be like, I don't know if this is real. I'm going to look into it.
The seven fingers on the left hand didn't give it away, but
the kinds of people who, you know, take things as they are, take them for granted, you know, just, you know, suck down the propaganda, are going to see an AI image and see an AI video, and they're
unfortunately,
going to be like,
yeah,
Yeah.
that's the same
Yeah.
generation that was okay with auto-tune, you know? So we
yikes.
we gave it away a little bit.
T-Pain.
And he has a great singing voice without the auto-tune, from what I hear.
Oh my God.
Yeah, no, that's crazy. But we kind of went on a tangent, but it was a good tangent. So I don't really know how to bring it back exactly.
I'm gonna cold swipe back.
Let's do it. I'm good with
So
that.
I was raised Catholic. I was raised with the Ten Commandments. I'm
Yeah, see,
aware
you
of
should have
what
put
they
that in
are.
your bio at the beginning. That would have really helped the audience understand where
Yeah,
you're coming
there you go.
from.
Sorry, kids. You'll learn more. Stay tuned. So one of the big ones is thou shalt not take the Lord's name in vain. And I know a lot of people around me that were usually Protestants, which wasn't a whole lot of Protestants where I grew up. I grew up in the suburbs of Detroit, pretty Catholic area. But you couldn't say "God damn it." People would correct you, say "GD." I'm like, well, it still means the same thing. So I think God
Yeah.
knows.
Gosh.
Yeah,
Gosh
gosh.
darn. Gosh darn.
But I learned early on, or was taught early on, that saying "God damn it" that's not the Lord's name in vain. That's just you requesting the God damn something, and He's probably not going to, whether He wants to or not.
Yeah.
More in the vein of, I don't know, starting wars in God's name and killing people in His name is taking His name in vain. Like and that's what they're doing with this Iran war, is calling a holy war. We're killing in the name of God.
Yeah.
In the theology that I grew up with and what theology I have now, it just seems completely ass backwards in what a loving God would want. I don't care if this entity wants the end times or not. He's all knowing, all doing. He doesn't need my help in bringing out the end of times.
Correct.
Yeah.
If you truly believe that it's supposed to come about, then it's going to come about when He wants it to, and there's nothing you can do to make it go faster or take longer.
Yeah.
And then I would also say that, like, it depends on one's interpretation of the Bible. So I'm not 100% sure which denominations would distance themselves from this, but, like, you know, from a Protestant perspective, you read the Old Testament. It's important, but it's not the most important part. I think one of the contradictions is that, like, a lot of Christians will focus on the New Testament and will focus on Jesus and will focus on how, like, God is this kind of being that's everywhere and He is from which all goodness comes. Then, so how do you square that with, in order for the rapture to happen, for Jesus to come back, for all of us to be saved, is we got to murder motherfuckers in God's name? Like, I get that the Old Testament has God being like, conquer those people, but, you know, how do you hold both of those things in your head at the same time?
It's the mental gymnastics. I mean, and not to be a dick, but I mean, clearly these are two different gods. Like,
no,
one of the Old Testament and one of the New Testament. You're gonna have to let one of them go,
right?
And they, I guess, have found a way to not. I don't know. I mean, I saw a great.
Yeah.
It was an AI generated thing. It was Jesus, and he's with a bunch of white evangelicals, and they're like, Jesus, we want to worship you, but we don't want to listen to a word you say. And Jesus hands him a mega hat. Says, there you go.
Yep.
Damn. Yeah. Okay. That's not what I expected. But yeah, like you said, yeah, they're two different gods. And so, like, what are you also, as a Christian, going to put in your head, like, the nature of God changes? That's a weird thing to believe about an all powerful being that is outside of space and time, is that his nature changes. What if he wrote the book of Revelation and then he was like, "Shit, that was a mistake.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm gonna
Well,
ghost them
if
now.
you
I'm
if
gonna let
you
them blow themselves up. Hey,
Unless
Grok,
you believe.
nuke them."
if you listen to a lot of Alex O'Connor videos, there's a lot of good discussions that he has, and I don't have all the information in front of me, so I'm not going to go into detail. But he's had a lot of good discussions where they're with theologians and people about the Bible being interpreted that there is like God is multiple. There was many gods almost, and there was almost a revolt that happened in whatever God basically that showed up in the end is the one that we got stuck with. It wasn't the God from Genesis. Like the God that created everything in Genesis and did all that and started all that was not even the God by the time the Old Testament ended. Because again, quoting some verse, Nehemiah or something, it was like, and all the gods came together, and something happened. And then all of a sudden narratives change after that.
Okay.
Now, I think some of it's a leap, but it's interesting. There are people that have looked at that and they're like, yeah, you could take this verse.
I haven't heard
There's multiple stuff.
that one, but one of the kind of go-to was like, a sect of Christians, probably in the 2nd or 3rd century, when comparing like Christianity theology to the Jewish texts, they're like, these are clearly different gods that we're talking about. And they kind of came to the conclusion that the God in the Old Testament made everything, but like he was not the perfect God. There was like another God outside of him. And the Old Testament God made the planet, made people, but because he was an imperfect deity, he kind of fucked us up. And then he was kind of a piece of shit in the Old Testament. And
He was
then
a bad dad.
He's bad daddy.
Went out for milk and cigarettes, never came back.
The New Testament, the
He went down to get
Father,
diapers.
Yeah.
the New Testament God was like, no, that's the real one.
Right.
And so, like, yeah, there are a lot of ways to interpret it. But I bet you if you put that idea in front of modern Christians, that would be a brand new thought.
I mean, I've never really delved into it, but I mean, there's actual biblical studies in which, there are numerous different gods being called God, being called Yahweh
Correct.
in the Old Testament. And it's basically whenever one tribe kind of
Took over
takes
another one.
over, and the story and we got this written down text like millennia after the events actually happened, so it's all kind of conflated.
Correct.
So it's not even there's not even one God in the Bible.
Yeah, I mean a basic timeline of even just what we have today is at one point in time there was tribes that vocally told stories around the campfire that was the Old Testament, the earth was created, things like, beginning parts of it. Eventually some of that gets written down for whatever's popular at that time, gets written down, parts get taken out. The Israelites, are the people that eventually who are the ones who write that down. They keep it themselves for 1,000 years until another sect comes out of Bethlehem and has a Messiah, and then they create their own religious, doctrine based off what they knew, what they grew up in the Old Testament of
Or
fulfilling
whatever agenda
prophecies.
they want to
Correct.
propagate. I mean,
Correct.
we have to.
And then hundreds and hundreds and years after that is when a bunch of people who have been teaching a church based off Jesus Christ decides, hey, now let's bring these two things together and create a holy Bible text.
I mean, we have the King James. I mean, that Bible was an agenda that King James wanted to propagate. Like he said, "Hey, I want a Bible in English, but I want it make it like tweak it my way."
Correct. Make sure that I don't get overthrown and I can still be king.
So I mean, it's not like it's an ancient idea. I mean, it's still something. I mean,
you see it happen even in modern day. I mean, look at in the past, since pilgrims came to the States, and how many sects of Christianity out of Protestantism. You go into any town, you can go to 4 different churches. They're all teaching slightly different, teachings and things that they believe in. And it's because, one person reads something and says, I interpret it this way. Someone reads something as, we're going to ignore that thing because it doesn't resonate and make me feel good. I'm going to add this other thing in here, and I'm actually going to follow the teaching of this other dude over here who said this one thing that I thought was cool.
Yeah, like in Catholic Bibles, they have the Apocrypha, and I hadn't heard about the Apocrypha until earlier this year.
Mm-hmm.
And I talked to a theologian friend of mine he was Pentecostal, and then he went to I'm going to kick myself for not remembering. But basically, it's Protestant, but it is very Catholic.
That's cool.
His denomination. And we were talking about the Apocrypha, and I know nothing about it. I bought a Bible that has the Apocrypha because I was curious, and his interpretation was like parts of the Bible don't make sense without the Apocrypha. And so it's funny that Protestants have this Bible that they're like, this is perfect and there are no errors, but someone decided we don't need the Apocrypha anymore. And then before that, someone decided we're going to put these texts together and leave out other ones.
I mean, the Dead Sea Scrolls, there was numerous scrolls that were found in that archaeological find that they're like, no, those aren't going to be included because that one specifically says women are, just have as many rights as men and should be allowed to speak up.
Yeah, it's like you were saying with the agenda that people have, it's also just kind of like different people at different times have these different ideas, these different theologies, and then there are the Old Testament is ancient Jewish writings, but there are like a shitload more of Jewish writings. And so just the idea that you can pick and choose which Jewish writings you like and stick them together and call it the Bible is kind of weird. Like, I feel like if you have that knowledge, you would be like, well, a human being edited this. Even if you thought that like God was the one like writing the Bible through people, you have to recognize that humans decided what to have and not have represented in your modern Bible.
But they believe that was God ordained those people to make that
Correct.
choice. Because I've got a copy, I can't find it. That's what I've been looking for. I got a copy of the Gnostic Gospel, or Gospel of Judas. It's basically giving Judas, I don't want to say pass, but to me, it makes a whole lot of sense. Judas is the only person that Jesus ever says friend.
Right.
My friend. Basically postulates that Jesus knew that he needed to be crucified. He needed to die for our sins.
And
so
he only had one
chose
friend
the
that was
one guy
courage
that was going
to
do it. So he chose Judas, and all of history has been fucking on this guy because he did what Jesus told him to do.
Right. Well, yeah, I mean, you have the amount of, people that believe, you have people that believe you have free will or you don't have free will. Everything is preordained by God. If you're on that train of thought and that's what you believe, then it was preordained. Judas was going to do this thing. He really had no choice. He was going to do it. And therefore, you can't really blame him because from the moment he was born, it was ordained that this is the thing you're going to do.
Yeah, I'm not a Calvinist.
Yeah, I mean it's fascinating stuff. I mean that's I don't know, Josh. Did you watch the video I sent you about the mysticism? You never look at any of my
if
stuff.
I'm not mistaken, you sent me the video that I had sent you.
You may have sent it to me. Or you may have sent it to me
with Britt Hartley, No Nonsense Spirituality.
Yes,
yeah, bro, I sent you that.
Well, I resent it to you again. I think be like, dude, this is I did resend it to you.
Yeah, that's like the video that if I introduce these ideas, that's the first one I send.
I found it fascinating. I came away from it and I was like, I finally know what I believe, or at least how I can say it. like when I was talking to, like I told you, I was talking to that friend, and he thought I was a Christian because of the things I post and the things like that. He was just like, "Oh, I thought you were a Christian, and I've been talking to you for an hour and a half, thinking, and I should have been prophesizing to you this whole time."
You
And
heathen.
I was like, no, no, no. I said, yeah. I mean, I tell people I'm atheist because it strikes a chord with the people that I talk with, which then invites a conversation that I can then say, all right, well, this is really, when you dig down to it, it's not that I don't believe nothing's there. I just don't believe what's modern religion has created is true. So, and so when I watched that video and she was talking about how like mysticism is basically like, it's, you believe in experiences, whatever that experience is. If someone comes and says, I feel like I talk to God, then all right, that's true. You felt something. But it's when religion makes it, I believe in God, therefore I can do these things. Therefore you can't do this. Therefore that's when you break away. So everyone, it was the first time I'd ever seen that. And yeah, sorry that I didn't click on it, I guess, a year ago when you probably originally sent it to me, and it took me till.
Yeah. Britt Hartley, No Nonsense Spirituality. I have her book. I highly suggest her YouTube channel.
Whoa. This is
I
a
was gonna
woman?
buy that. I was
She's
gonna.
on
I was
No,
gonna.
Twitter. She's on
get that.
Instagram.
That's
Or
awesome. All right, so
what's it
send me
called?
that.
TikTok. But yeah, I stumbled upon her, and I think, I also grew up Christian, fell away from the church, and then kind of like had nothing to stand on.
Yeah.
I clearly bullshitted my way through life until around the time that like I started looking back at my upbringing and where my beliefs came from. Like, people call it deconstructing from your religion, which usually is the part where like you're in religion and then you start deconstructing and you start being like, well, you're making a lot of truth claims that don't line up with reality. And then at that point you kind of fall away. But like I kind of did a half-ass like just angsty job of that, and then like in my 30s I kind of came back to look at those fundamental beliefs again to like actually break them down. So yeah, I've been getting really into the history of like ancient Israelite culture, what set the stage for the Bible, or well, I'm sorry, set the stage for Jesus. Yeah, and then her whole channel is about those having spiritual experiences and having the good things that religion just gives you without having to be like, okay, now I have to believe that
I got to support Israel because in Genesis chapter 12 it says,
or even just like as a wife, I have to submit to my husband. It's like,
well, hold on there. Let's not go too far. There are some good. No, just
but
kidding.
yeah, like
just kidding.
If you walk into a church, like you get a meaning, a purpose in your life. You get community. You get people who will be there for you, kind of a little mutual aid situation. You get rituals. Yeah, like there's so
hug,
much.
You get a pat on the back. You get everything's gonna be okay. You've got somebody. We have the answers too. So when things are, it makes sense that religion works.
Yeah,
I just don't have that. I grew up Catholic. I never got mad at God. There was never a divorce. I sort of, for lack of a better term, grew out of it. I looked at other religions like that. That's just as valid. I don't have any.
Yeah,
yeah.
I feel like that was my first like footing coming out of religion, was like, oh, there's a bunch of these, like, and I learned about a number of them, and I'm like, how are you gonna be like, oh yeah, this one's the correct one? Like, I think they're all trying to point.
Have faith.
They're all trying to point at have faith in what? Which one?
Josh's
the one you're paying for.
Like he says that he presents himself as atheist, and for for the longest time, I just people ask me questions and I'll answer them
Mhm.
honestly, or I just shrug it off because I don't really want to talk. But I was getting my hair cut the other day, and the lady was like, "Hey, so you got any big plans for Easter? Wait, coming up?" I'm like, "Oh, well, no, we're not Christian." And it was like the first time I really just like, nope.
Said it out loud.
It said that because I was like, it was kind of the world we're living in, the war that's happening. Like, I think my community needs people that look like me to say I'm not that
Right.
and be comfortable with it. And they realize that I'm not a terrible person because I'm not that.
Yeah, I mean, that's the biggest thing. I mean, I know, like, especially, like, in this last hour, we've dunked on religion a lot pretty hard just because in the friendly banter that we've had, but I think anybody that knows me knows that whenever I'm having a one-on-one conversation with somebody and they're expressing their religious, beliefs and fervor, I'm like, listen, if that makes you feel good and be a good person, by all means go for it. And I want to help encourage you towards it. Now, the moment you start screwing over and you're
Yeah.
utilizing it for negativity, then I'm gonna, reprimand you on that. But I mean, there's good aspects to it. There's bad. It's not for me. But at the end of the day, I'm not gonna sit there and trip somebody else's life up in order to prove to
Yeah.
them why I'm right and they're wrong. That's not for me. Now that's what a lot of they try to do to me, but just, hey,
If you
but I want
listen
to
to
try to present something different.
Taylor Tomlinson's latest stand up, she she lays it right out there. Like, religion's a tool. Now it's basically how you use it. Like, is it a tool to make you better, or is it
Hmm.
a tool, or are you using it as a tool to
Tear down.
control?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm cool with it if it's making you better.
I
Hmm.
don't know. That sounds like some woke shit.
I know.
Well, I mean, is religion being used as a tool in our government to make things better? I mean, that's another aspect of, someone in religious, background, could all of a sudden become to the highest office or any sort of place and be like, all right, I'm going to take the Jesus teaching of love thy neighbor, give to those who don't have anything, you know, protect the widows. And then all of a
Yeah.
sudden we have a socialist,
Government.
government, paradise, or they go in and they say, all right, well, I got to kill everybody that doesn't believe the way I believe, or I got to, do this. So,
Yeah, I do want to back up to the not trying to tear down someone's religion. Know that questioning someone's, something that someone believes in, it can feel like an attack on who they are as a person. And I like to talk about these different theological things, not because I'm trying to figure out what's true,
mhm.
and I'm not trying to say that this or that isn't true, unless, like, say, whether it's coming from a government or from a pastor, and they are saying something and they are ordaining an action from the Bible. This is
Right.
a holy war. We have to do this for God, or God hates the gays. Like you said, if they are using it as a tool for negative purposes, like 100% gonna push back on that. If there's ever like a truth claim that they're trying to lay out that, like, oh, homosexuality is bad in the Bible, therefore homosexuals are bad and what they do is bad and
Mhm.
they have to repent for their sins and all that other bullshit. Yeah, I'm always gonna push back on that kind of thing. But then, like, really, when it comes to just kind of, if we pull back from that and we just look at theology, like, yeah, we should talk about where the Bible came from. And I'm not laying that out as like an attack on, like, you see, you believe in bullshit. No. It's just like, I think it's
No.
amazing to even like see the context and think about a book that was, pinned to papyrus, what, like 3,500 years ago,
Right.
and we still read it today. Like, that's crazy. That's a cool thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, when I first got at UGA and I did the religion, and people are like, why are you doing religion? You live in like believe in God. I'm like, well, I never said I didn't believe in God. I just calm down. But one of my first professors was like there are two types of people that do go into the study of religion. It's people that know and people that don't know. And I think we could safely say people that don't know. And I mean, we're just fascinated by what makes people tick to a broader extent than just like psychology. Like, no, I want to, what makes a whole group of people tick?
Right.
Like, what made this administration and the people that follow it decide that this was a good idea to go on a war against a nation state that for, I mean, we've had conflicts, but we've been relatively okay with, like, you do your
And
thing, you
be
buy your oil.
comfortable enough to throw out all the rules that we and guidelines we've set up over the years
Mm-hmm.
of war, of what is allowed and not allowed, and just be like, yeah, no, fuck it, whatever we had to do.
And I can't remember the exact verbiage, and I should have brought this up earlier, which was, part of the whole Revelations is that there will be a Antichrist who deceives some Christians.
Even the Christians,
Oh, I
yes.
used to always laugh.
With the brand on their head, which
I used to
people
always
like
say,
that.
what if it was Trump? What if it was Trump? But thankfully, I don't believe that happening. But
it almost makes
it
me
would be cool if it did.
Like, oh, maybe.
Oh, how the turntables. Yeah, no. And yeah, kind of going a little bit, when Josh, you were talking about, talking to other people about the stuff. Another and again, I should have watched your videos when you sent them to me a year ago, but one of her other videos was her talking about, and it was a quick, like 2-minute thing that it was in a deeper discussion, but she brought up the concept of anchors and how everyone has an anchor. And that's the thing that you find that anchors you basically to your beliefs, whatever it is, whether you're an atheist, religious or not. And if ever you're trying to debate someone's anchor, for instance, a Christian, or a religious person, if their religion is their anchor in life, that's almost a crisis to them if they lose that anchor.
Yeah.
And so,
yeah,
I came away with that being like, because after a bunch of negativity and stuff, arguing with people online right after Trump got elected, I kind of stepped away from being like, you know what, I'm now not going to seek debate out anymore. Someone wants to come to me, sure, we can try to do it in a friendly way if possible, but if not, I'll debate you, but I'm not going to seek it out anymore and everything like that. And I realized I didn't know the word or use the language of attacking people's anchor, but that's really what I was like, no, I'm not. It's not worth going after and debating things that I know it's never going to change their mind. Just like no one's ever going to change my mind on what my anchor is, because that's my anchor.
And that's something, she's got a video about like levels of atheism, and this is something that, like, when I left religion when I was in like high school-ish, that was when like Sam Harris, Richard Dawkins, Christopher Hitchens, and I think there was a fourth one, but they're all like these prominent atheists that
like
bash
the Four Horsemen.
Who is the fourth one? But the ones that they just bash religion, they're like, this has no purpose, and that was like the new atheist movement. It was kind of popular, and then now we're 15 years past that, and people like Britt Hartley show up, who are kind of like this new wave. My friend called it post-secularism, where it's like, the Four Horsemen told us that all we needed was science and that would like save us. But then they tore down religion and there was nothing left to stand on. And so you either fall back to religion or you go the Britt Hartley direction and you kind of figure it out for yourself, which is hard, but it's really neat. But that also comes back to like the whole anchoring thing is like
Yeah.
nowadays it's not about, for me, it's not about attacking your anchor. It's not like trying to prove that God doesn't exist. It's just an investigation.
Yeah.
We're just, if you say the Bible is inerrant, we're going to have an argument. But if we want to talk about the nature of God, it's just going to be like, we can play in that space. We don't have to, whoop, here comes my cat.
I mean, to your point, I don't, I mean, you and I, we've all sat around and talked this in more casual settings. I
A
don't
lot
think
more
any of
tequila
us,
was involved, but yeah.
yeah, well, we don't go into these conversations really looking for an argument. I'm not even looking to persuade anybody ever.
Right.
I just find it fascinating. And there's no agenda for me. I'm not trying to convert anybody to not be religious. Now, if they come away with more questions and they think about that's okay, but I'm not looking to do that
Yeah, I think
because you cut a person's anchor, like you don't know where they're gonna go after it. You have no idea.
Correct.
They could go any fucking where.
Oh my God, there are 2 cats in my lap.
There we go.
But yeah, that's one thing that I think is kind of sad about the modern Christian church is that doubt and questioning are like bad things that you're not supposed to do. Unless you're like, I guess if you're Presbyterian, they're like, oh, that's an interesting thing that we can talk about and figure out. But like, at least from like, I guess this non-denominational Baptist / evangelical sect is like, no. These things are the truth dictated by the Bible, and you do not question them. If you question them, you lack faith. Or
well, there's a purpose behind that, because myself, for instance, the moment I got to a point where I was allowed to start questioning and doubting and not being reprimanded by my family for it, that's when I was like, never mind, I'm ready to walk away. So I don't agree with the reason for it, but the reasoning is, the moment you start doubting and questioning, you're probably not going to stay in this anymore.
Well,
So
that's
we got to
kind of my
keep
question
you in
though.
it.
It's like, how do you? And I mean, I was raised Catholic. There was never any rules about knots
Yeah.
or anything like that. There was just really no conversation about it. Like, you
Correct.
go to mass, the end. But how do you stop a thought?
A thought terminating cliche.
I
You
mean,
don't. You
like at
punish
some
the
point,
child
how does
enough
it
that.
still? I mean, I get it. I get that
there's
it
a
works for a minute,
Yeah.
like maybe 10 years or so. But like these kids grow up, they think. I mean, and I guess for the guys, it works out because they're usually in control, and that's
Correct.
awesome.
I mean, there's bonuses they're getting to it, and that's why you see so many young people the moment they turn 18. Parents are going to blame college, or whatever it is that makes them turn away. But it's the moment they're outside of the control they had, then they're allowed to all of a sudden think. A lot of them come to the conclusions to walk away. So kitties. So yeah, I mean, you distracted us with the cats, Josh.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Way to go.
Yeah, I remember, hopefully y'all didn't have to watch this, but when I was a kid, there was this thing called Bible Man.
I've seen it, but I've never. I know of it. I've never actually seen it.
Right.
Yeah, it's he's like Batman, except he uses the power of the Bible.
Oh,
And they fight with lightsabers.
sure.
That's right. Okay.
But
it all of a sudden came back.
I distinctly remember this one episode. He was fighting the embodiment of doubt. And so, Bible Man like doubted God or like doubted his faith or something like that. And they made it really vague. But yeah, it was just kind of like this, oh, you just got to have faith. You have to pray more. This is like a personal thing that you have to overcome. But like one thing that people like Britt Hartley fell into is like, okay, so you can do that and that works for you. But the problem is the way my brain fires is this is incongruent with reality. And when I investigate that, I find what the church puts forward lacking. And if the way my neurons fire mean that I go to hell, is that really my problem, or is that a problem with how God made me? And that's when you start getting to weird, like metaphysical questions like that, that's also another thing that I think kind of brings you out of the faith. And
That's why you deny science.
God, yeah, the Earth is
Not to slam dunk on
6,000
religion
years
again,
old.
Yeah.
Oh, the geological record? No. That's just the flood. Okay. All right, bud.
There were dinosaurs on the ark. Go to Kentucky. You can do the ark exhibit.
Who is that? Like, is it Ken Ham?
Ken Ham.
Yeah,
Ken Ham.
yeah.
I've watched those videos. I got in trouble one time
I didn't know
as a
who he
kid
was.
because I made a joke to my parents after we went. He was speaking at our church or a conference, and I made a joke. My parents overheard me, and I was like, "Ken Ham really is proof that we did evolve from apes because he looks like a monkey." And I remember I got grounded for even bringing that up. It was like, "How dare you insult?"
I only
a
saw
leader like
him
that.
when he debated
Bill Nye.
Bill Nye the Science Guy.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
I mean, okay, not to get back on the track. So we got Pete Hegg and this
Yeah, whatever his
belief.
fucking name is.
Yeah, Hegg's it. Yeah, whatever his name. I think he really is a driving force in this, Iran war for, personal religious reasons. I think he really does have some belief in this.
Doug Wilson.
Doug Wilson. Yep.
Doug Wilson. Yeah. But he's got his church and they've got their agenda. But who knows how long the Antichrist is going to take to do his job. Say the war stops and we don't get the second or the seventh temple yet. I mean, our founding fathers, even though most of them were deists, there was quite a few of them who were Christian or had Christian backgrounds.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the reason why they had a separation of church and state, it wasn't really because of the Jews over there. That was a small sect of people that were sure part of the colonies, now America. I mean, they were concerned about other Christians being in control of other Christians.
Yeah. They had seen how
What
religion
happens
had
when
hurt
what
the rest
what
of Europe.
happened when they decide, yes, we are a Christian nation that nobody signed up for? They get their way, but then you have a gazillion different Christian churches now trying to vie for power. Like,
Right.
most churches don't believe in this war and this idea that we're going to bring about the end of times. Are they going to stand up to what's going on? Or are they going to be excited about hypermasculinity? I don't know.
Yeah, I wonder where the Mormons fall into this whole thing.
Yeah.
They've got their own state.
I'm sure that whatever sect I was brought up in was close to evangelicalism. It does seem like the evangelical beliefs and praxis seems to be the biggest problem.
Yeah.
I don't know the specifics on evangelicals, but they're always the problem. Like, yeah, Doug Wilson, every other Christian nationalist is probably an evangelical. I don't know what it is about them.
Yeah. Well, and I've not dug deeply in this yet, but in that video of the 30 seconds that I shared, he briefly talks about it at the end and says, "Hey, I'm going to I'm posting another video later this week to discuss this next part." And he was bringing up, and I had heard it brought up that I guess within the MAGA coalition, so to speak. There has been a breakaway infighting between fundamentalists, different ones that say the side that is looking for the Israel prophecy to happen versus the other side that is America first and believes that America has to be a Christian nation because that's actually what's going to help bring it around because God ordained America based off founding fathers and
the splintering is just like, who's a bigger idiot? Damn. Like, I think that's the most disappointing about the Epstein files come out is like how few people were like, all right, that's it. All of this shit is fucked. No, they're just like,
I mean, yeah. I mean, we got the deep state that he complained about forever, and now we're not doing it.
Well, I mean,
I guess there was no pizza shop, I guess. I don't
deep
know.
state's fake news, question mark.
And just conversations that we saw in some of those emails, the elites talking about how, yeah, let's keep the normal people fighting over these stupid ideals so we as the elite can continue to run the world the way it runs, you know.
Divide and conquer. And like the number of people who are like super duper hard on MAGA are like aware of divide and conquer, but like
have no idea it's happening to them.
Yeah, aren't aware that they're going along with the propaganda and part of the division.
Well, as long as you think your side is winning and you want to be on the winning side, then you're willing to do all sorts of bad things and ignore the obvious.
Liberals.
I'm just gonna say this: when you first brought up bringing this podcast, Bob Dylan's "With God on Our Side" has been playing in my head on a loop since then. And I mean, everybody just thinks they have God on their side, and you can't lose.
Yeah.
If you are losing, you're gonna twist it to a different narrative. I don't know. It just
Yeah, you can't lose, and again, yeah, a lot of those people, that's their anchor. You know, the anchor is Revelations has to happen. You know, end of the world has to happen, and if it
we have to do an inception. We have to find what the anchor is. It can't be hate. We gotta find what's in the locker. It's gotta be.
It's
love.
powerful though. Hate is a powerful thing. It's been
mean,
driving civilizations for
fear.
thousands of
hate
years.
and fear.
Yep.
But their hate and fear stems from their love of the ones around them.
Right.
We gotta.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just weird. I just endlessly fascinated with.
I don't disagree.
No. Well, guys, I know it's like around 11 o'clock. I don't know what y'all's time frames are or anything, so you let me know.
I'm going to bed.
I'll probably have another beer.
I hear you. Well,
hey, Nick, what books are you reading right now?
He's showing off all his library as if he's an educated person.
Actually,
I mean, he's gonna be wearing
he went to UGA. He doesn't even know how to read.
Shirt. I'm just really okay.
Yeah,
are you excited for the movie?
I'm a little. I mean, I love Christopher Nolan.
I love Christopher Nolan too. And then the trailer, I'm 50-50 on. I was like,
shit, I'm out of the loop.
But I got Sir Ian McKellen reading to it. I got the audiobook in the car, and Gandalf's reading the Odyssey to me. So I have.
Is he?
And then I got.
Is he smoking the long leaf?
He's talking about the bright-eyed goddess quite a bit. It's Athena.
Nice. Very cool.
Nice.
And yeah, I got into Studio Ghibli for the first time. Now
I've heard of that. I'm not.
I've watched 2 of the movies. Within the past year for the first time as well.
Yeah.
Wait, isn't it?
Yeah, like
Japanese anime.
Yeah.
It's Japan's Disney. It's actually really good.
Yeah, I didn't watch it for the longest time because I was just like, anime, that's not my style. Whatever. And then I would always get told by people like, no, the stories, you'll cry. It's a lot more emotional and deeper meaning than what a lot of our Disney movies growing up were.
My
adult themed, I guess. Yeah, darker.
She found out my daughter's into wolves. So she's like, you need to watch this princess movie. It's like, okay. I'm like, okay, that was really awesome. She's like, well, here's Howl's Moving Castle. I'm like, do I have to read the book? She's like, you don't. So I watched the movie and loved it. I'm like, I'm going to read the book.
Huh. Okay.
So Yeah. And I have like 3 other books I'm kind of in the middle of.
Yeah, it'd be like that though.
I buy books, I stick them on a shelf, and I just point at them. And I'm like, Devin's always like, "Are you ever going to read that?" I'm like, "I don't know, probably not." But she's like, "Why are you buying them then?" I'm like, "It looks cool.
Yeah.
I want people to think I read it." So, well, guys, it was a fun discussion. We'll go ahead and cut the stream off here, unless you guys had any last second remarks or anything like that. So,
No.
all right. Well,
I
I appreciate it. Audience, thanks for hanging in there.